Okay, hi, this is Captain Stevo. I'm going to do a quick how-to video. I do metal recycling between jobs, which is not a whole lot profitable, but on my level anyway. But I'm disassembling a couple of ceiling fans. I'll show you my quick way of doing it. It's pretty easy. There's some copper inside. There's some number 2 insulated wiring. If I want to strip that, it's number 2 copper, usually stranded. Here's the other part that I already took off, the lights. I will also take that apart. I have simple tools. I have a pair of channel locks. I can take these nuts off on the inside of the lights, just loosen them if I can really quick. You get them loose, usually they come right off. And then you can take that apart. Some people just do the whole, recycle the whole in the local industry here anyway. Some people, oh, by the way, I've been recycling for like 30 years on and off. I've made up as high as 500 a week when prices were good. Right now, prices are almost at a historical low. Stock market and supply and demand and all that. So, by taking these off, this one has paint on it. That's why it's not coming off so easily. Usually they hand finger loose on there. Let me see if I can get that. Yeah, okay. So basically, I just take these off, pull that out, then you can get better access. Sometimes there's one Phillips head screw down in there, usually down inside, so you can take the light socket out. And I usually keep a magnet to tell me, a magnet handy. There you can see the screw down in the screw socket. Usually you can just look down in there and see if it is. And then you can pull that whole thing out, and wires and all. Hopefully, there. You can pull the whole light socket out with the wires. Then I just usually, this is all usually just, there's a little bit of pot metal on there. I could worry about that, but that's a lot of effort. So I'll just throw this whole thing in the metal bucket as steel. And then I just clip these wires off here. That's number 2 insulated wire. And pull that off there. I'll worry about that in a little bit. Throw them with the metal. I sometimes too, I'll clip these ends off, these stripped ends, because I'll just grab them and pull it out, and that's number 2 copper right there. Put that aside. I'm going to just take that extra second because it does add up. Throw all that aside. Then there's a few. I'll do the. I won't do the other lights. That just give you an idea. Then I'll take the few screws, usually a Phillips head screwdriver, a pair of side cutters, and a pair of channel locks is all I need to take these apart. Okay, there's a few screws in around here. This is my first how-to video, so bear with me on the quality and sound and lighting. I'm in my air-conditioned little makeshift office in my warehouse, so you might hear the air conditioner in the background. That's usually steel. I can tell by the weight in the steel bucket. I don't worry about taking the switch out because I throw that in with all my steel. I just reach down in there and cut the wires. There's usually 6 wires on the back of the switch. And I'll take these little wire nuts off because I do that little end wire strip there, or cut. So I take all these off. I'll do that little cut far enough back where it's not hard to pull the number 2 copper off out of the insulation. Throw all that aside. I like to take the wire nuts off first because it's easier to get it off while I have something to hold on to before I cut them. Now, this is a lot farther than some people go, but sometimes I'll be sitting around, this is the first, but sometimes I'll be sitting around watching a movie in my air-conditioned office out at my warehouse while I'm doing this. Sipping on a beer sometimes, but I'll break everything down. It's very easy, very quick. Set it aside. I'll do all the big stuff first, break it down, then I'll sit, and all the little stuff I can definitely sit in my office and do, and not waste time. The pull chain switches here, usually just hand screw those little brass nuts off, and then you can just cut the wires right off. I've tried breaking them apart. You can do that. Some people go that far. The more you break it down, the more you make, but the more time it takes. So sometimes I'm limited to how much time, and I pull the chain out. It's usually brass. I test it with a magnet ahead of time, but I usually pull it out as far as go and just cut it off, throw that in with the metal bucket, the other part of the switch. The capacitors, they won't take, so I cut all the wires off of the capacitors and just do that real quick. Throw the capacitors where they can be disposed of safely. And then you can just pull the 3 main power wires right on through usually. Clip the number 2 insulated off, number 2 copper off of that. And sometimes I'll cut these off down inside at the top of that tube, because when I go to take the rest apart, it makes it easier. The fan blades have been broken off, but usually it's a couple of Phillips head screws to just take them out, and they come off very easily. And that is zinc die cast in my area, and it pays 20 cents a pound right now. So rather than throw all that in for 3 cents a pound, which steel is right now, which is really low. I've seen it as high as 14 when I was making good money. I just pull all those off real quick. The screws are steel. You check everything with a magnet, a good strong magnet. I usually get magnets out of microwaves when I tear them apart, little donut magnets, and they're pretty strong. And when I'm testing stainless steel, if they don't stick to it with that magnet, then it's usually good grade 880 or 810, whatever it is, the high grade stainless that they pay for, which isn't very much right now. So then going to the other side real quick, usually there's a couple of set screws, Phillips head, everything's Phillips head. Usually sometimes it's Torx, and sometimes it's other, but mostly it's Phillips head. You take that one out that holds that little retainer, it'll slide down, then you can take this one off, and that's number 2 insulated wire or strippable with a brass termination end on it, and that's steel. I'll just pop that right off, and then there's a little square nut right there holding this in, stopping it from spinning, so I loosen that. Usually everything, once you loosen it, will come out with your fingers. And sometimes that will pop right out. I use my trusty long Phillips head here to do that. I put it through the 2 holes and spin it, but what came off is this other end. So that will screw off. Sometimes there's a retainer nut down inside there. I'll take that off, and then let's see if I can spin this off. It's not wanting to turn real easy. So that one doesn't want to come out. So that's probably steel, which won't matter. If it's connected, I don't have to take it apart. Sometimes that is cast aluminum in my area, and then it's worth taking apart. When I get it apart, I'll test it with my magnet. I didn't bring it in with me. So I continue to pull these screws out here. Most of these outer screws come off very easy. When you get to the inner part, it becomes a little more difficult. So once you get those off, then you have some outer screws. You look around, they're all basically the same, but they're all a little different in how they're applied, depending on the age. The older ones, sometimes there's old cast steel ones, cast iron, and they're heavy. There's still a good bit of copper, and if you break it down, then you still get more money. And it takes a few minutes. Instead of taking a few minutes to go collect more stuff, you take a few minutes to break it down, and you get more money out of the same stuff you have. So it's a weighing out process. I use less gas by running around collecting and this and that. When I get down this far, I'm going to have to take this off, which has a set square screw down in here. So I'll take that out with my channel locks. Hopefully I can reach in there and get a turn on it. Okay, I got it to move. Now if I get it turned enough, difficulty. Try my trusty needle nose here. Yeah, there it goes. Turn that out a little bit. All I have to do is get it to unset from the threaded post or the post, and then I can spin it off. Let's see if I can spin it off now. I usually have a pair of heavy vice grips that I use to grip this. Let me see if I can do it without. Might get a good enough grip where it doesn't spin. Yeah, there it goes. Okay, so it came loose. It's spinning free. Once it's turning free enough, I can get rid of that and just spin it off. Now that looks like it's going to be cast aluminum, so I'll have to tap that with a hammer a couple of times and try to break the paint loose and get this cast aluminum part off. That's going to pay 30 cents a pound, 32 cents a pound over the 3 cents of the steel post in it. And take the screw out, of course. Can do that later, but that's basic. Then when you get down to this, what you have is the motor casing and the shaft running through it. So what I'll do, these screws are a little tougher and you can strip them out. So these 3 screws here are pretty easy. Oh, they're actually tough, so get a good grip. Push down hard. Once you break it, it comes out pretty easy. You don't want to strip them out. These 3 inner screws are slotted and also Phillips, so you can use a straight tip on them. If you screw up the Phillips, then you can back it up with a straight tip. Now these outer casing screws here and here, you get one good shot at them before they strip, and you push in real hard, hold it. Oh, or what you can do is tap them with a hammer. I don't usually do this, but I don't have a hammer handy. Tap them once, it'll kind of, once or twice, it'll kind of loosen the screws. Same on the other side. That'll help break them loose, if that works. If not, I'll have to, yeah, see, that one came loose easy. So I'll go ahead and pull these out. I work as an electromechanical engineering assembly tech, normally, building CNC machines, major amusement park dark rides. I'm a wiring specialist, controls wiring. I got 3 years towards an electrical engineering degree, 100 credit hours. Take those 4 out and then turn it over. I'll take the other 4 out. If I broke them loose, yeah, see, they come loose a lot easier after tapping them. It's usually a quick way just to give them a quick tap, make your life easy. Using a power drill, unless you have them broke loose, you may strip the heads out real easy. Just a warning, you can try anything, get them broke loose, and then use a power drill to take them out, save time. Okay, now, down to that, I usually have my hammer, which I didn't think to grab, so what I'm going to try to do is, like, I don't like to tap with my tools. These are lifetime warranty. Replacement doesn't give me an excuse, but you tap that a couple of times while holding it, and it comes apart. Now, this has aluminum on it, so I either turn that in for irony aluminum, which rates more, like 8 cents a pound, over the regular steel parts. So I'll put, oops, sorry about that. I put that aside. Sometimes they give me electric motor cost on that, which is a little more money also. So then turn it over, and what you have inside is the armature, I guess that's what you call it, with all the copper on it. So a couple of taps and it breaks right loose. Then what I do is take my side cutters. You can do this with an angle grinder. Just take and cut a notch across each one of these, but I'll show you a quickie here. I just take, my angle grinder burned out on me, so I'll just take and use my side cutters and cut right through. I don't try to cut it all at once, just nip right through it. I'll do a couple here. And then on the inner one, and I do this all through. And this is inside motor wiring, and it's usually coated with something, so no matter what you say or how thick it is, it's going to be number 2 in my area anyway. Then I'll just flip it over, take a flathead screwdriver or any, usually a flathead works, you get the right size. Just stick it through, pry it up, and there you go. Number 2 copper, clean, ready to go. So you don't get much out of each one of these, but if you do 1 in 10 minutes like I usually do, 1 in 15 minutes, you do 4 an hour, then you add up all the parts, then it's actually worth, sometimes I get going and really strip them out fast, but that's basically how you can break those down. Now you just take all the other parts. There's some wires in here that go through, the ones that I cut off. You can just take them out right here. There's a little tie strap down in there, usually, or something holding them. There's a little metal bracket in there. So I can pry those out, pull them out. That adds to my number or harness wiring. They're thin, low yield inside. So I can pull those out also to throw them with my harness wire bucket. But anyway, that's basically how you break down a ceiling fan. And I'll show you another one, but I'm going to keep this video under 15 minutes. So I hope you enjoyed. Click the like and subscribe. I will be doing much more salvaging videos on the how-to. And also if you, click like and subscribe. So thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.